One of the major projects that you're going to be working on over the course of this semester is the annotated bibliography. First of all, as you probably are aware, a bibliography is a record of reading. So all of the reading assignments that we do this semester will show up in this bibliography. And annotated, of course, means that there's extra stuff explaining things about this bibliography. So, for each author, you're not going to have to write, say, a separate entry for each of Phyllis Wheatley's poems that you chose, but for each author whose work is assigned reading, you'll create an entry for that author. So each entry is going to begin with a complete MLA citation. Notice that I have a link here for you that takes you to the Purdue OWL Online Writing Lab information on MLA citations. By the way, they apparently have a citation generator right now, but I don't like it. So if you want to use a citation generator, choose something better like BibMe or EasyBib or NightCite. I think you'll get better results with those. And then this link here takes you to a sample annotated bibliography, which we'll look at momentarily. Right. So you start with the citation, and then you're going to have 3 brief paragraphs. So you don't want to be writing very long, detailed paragraphs about each of these authors, but you need to have a decent paragraph, I would say. So you're going to start with a summary paragraph, a brief summary about the text, and that's going to include the key objective factual information about the text or texts in the case of, say, Phyllis Wheatley's poems. You want to communicate your thoughts about the text's intended audience and purpose. What do you think the audience or audiences were, and the purpose of the writing, the main purpose of the writing. This part should be written in third person, so referring to, say, Wheatley. So you'd want to introduce her as Phyllis Wheatley first, and then refer to her as Wheatley. Or we know it was that she was female, so you can use female pronouns for her if you would like to. But use pronouns only when the gender of the writer is clear and known. For example, if you had, say, Robin Jones, Robin can be a girl's name and Robin can also be a boy's name. So you don't know for sure which pronouns to use, in which case you want to go with the neutral they. Or if you really want to do it the right way, you would avoid the pronouns altogether. Right. After the summary paragraph, you're going to write a reflection paragraph. And in this paragraph, you're going to look at key questions, issues, or themes for that work, key questions, issues, or themes for the course overall, personal thoughts that reveal how the text affects one's own or your own understanding, specific areas of learning, and this part should be written in first person because it's your reflection. Finally, you're going to include a brief connections paragraph. In this paragraph, you're going to make connections or comparisons with other course readings, with texts, and by texts I mean written texts as well as video or audio or art, whatever, from outside the course. So maybe something you've read reminds you of a movie you watched or a television program, whatever, a song that you listened to, a piece of art. You're going to explore connections with personal experiences. So maybe something in that work struck a chord with you because you've had a similar experience, or maybe your experience has always been the complete opposite and you never realized that some people could have the experience that was written about in that text. And then this should be written in first and third person. So when you're talking about yourself and your own connections, and of course you're going to write in first person, and when you're referring back to the works, either the ones we've read for this course or the ones you're making connections with outside the course, you would refer to those authors in the third person. All right, I will be looking at this document each week to make sure that you're on the right track, that you're doing what you need to be doing. I may make comments on the document if there's an area where, say, your citation's not quite right, or you've gone off track in one of your paragraphs as far as the way it should be written, say in first person versus third person or whatever. But you won't get a grade for it until the end of the course. And that way you can make revisions all the way through. So if I put a comment on about something, you can go back and revise it. It's not like you're going to be losing points along the way. This project, it's a big one. You can look at it in terms of a midterm and a final. So we're not having a traditional midterm or final in this course. Instead, you are creating this annotated bibliography that will showcase your entire course work for the entire semester. All right, so if you have questions, comments, or concerns, put them in the virtual office. If you feel like it's not something appropriate for the virtual office, you of course are welcome to email me. I will respond as soon as possible to either one or wherever you post your questions or your concerns. This is an individual project, although if you wanted to talk about it amongst yourselves in your groups or on the discussion board, that's fine with me. If you want to, share with one another to see how each of you is approaching it, that's fine as well. So just to make sure you are seeing what I'm seeing, when you click that first link about annotated bibliographies, it takes you to the annotated bibliographies page here at the Purdue OWL site, and it gives you basic information here on why you should write it, format, and that. And let's see. Yeah. So there's, sorry, where is, there we go. Sorry, I was looking for it in the text, but it's a link on the side. So the link on the side will take you to the annotated bibliography samples. So the samples are a good place to look for. Here's an example of an MLA formatted citation for Bird by Bird, which if you haven't read and you like writing, or you think you might like writing, or you want to try to like writing, it's a really good book, easy to read, short chapters. So Anne Lamott's book, Bird by Bird, we have the full citation for that. And then notice that it works a lot like your works cited entries, where the citation is aligned to the left, but the annotations are indented. Right, so we have a paragraph that kind of summarizes, and then we have a couple of paragraphs that deal with more analysis and reflection. The way this one's set up isn't quite exactly like what I'm asking you to do as far as the content of each of these paragraphs, but you can get an idea of what this entry might look like. One thing to make sure you understand is that just like a works cited page, your entries should be in alphabetical order by the author's last name. So they're not going to be in chronological order of when we read them in the class, but they'll be in alphabetical order by the author's last name. So make sure that you pay attention to that when you're creating your document. And then for your MLA citations, that link will take you to the general style guide, and then you can look over on the left for anything that you need more specific information on. This is the basics of what goes into an MLA citation, and then it gives you different examples. Right? So if you have questions, let me know.